Dr. Anthony Fauci concluded his last day of testimony before the House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic on Tuesday and had plenty of things to share with lawmakers about the U.S. pandemic response, some of which shocked Republicans on the committee. Dr. Fauci said he was not convinced that children suffered learning loss due to school closures that his agency supported, according to two members of that committee who spoke with me. Representative Michael Cloud told me after leaving the hearing room that Fauci said he was still not convinced that there's learning loss and that was, in his view, open to discussion. This is in keeping with a number of previous statements that Fauci has made to the press about the degree of authority he exerted during the pandemic. For instance, in April 2023, he told the New York Times Magazine, "Show me a school that I shut down. Show me a factory that I shut down." I never did. I gave a public health recommendation that echoed the CDC's recommendation, and people made a decision based on that. When I asked Representative Cloud for his response to this, he said that Fauci and other public officials had washed their hands of responsibility, saying the decisions were often made by local or school districts. But the school districts, he pointed out, if they don't follow that guidance, leave themselves open to lawsuits from the federal government. The U.S. Department of Education also released statistics at the end of 2022 showing that reading and math scores had plummeted among school children. Among 9-year-olds in particular, reading scores were at their lowest point in over 30 years, and math scores dipped for the first time in a near half-century of recording. Fauci also had the opportunity to speak with members about other guidance he provided, such as 6 feet of distance to slow the spread of the virus. Fauci surprisingly said to the committee members that guidance, quote, sort of just appeared, end quote, without scientific input. Dr. Ashish Jha, the dean of Brown University Medical School and an eventual COVID response coordinator in President Biden's White House, said that the 6 feet requirement never struck him as, quote, particularly sensical, end quote. He said he wished the CDC would just come out and say it was not a major issue. Fauci eventually backtracked on the 6 feet requirement after being asked by different members of the media for response to various studies showing it had little effect. Escorted by Capitol Police and 4 attorneys, Fauci refused to talk with reporters as he entered or exited the hearing room for both days of his testimony. His attorneys, 2 of them personally retained and 2 provided by the federal government, also refused requests for comment by the Post, and in response only said, "No questions, no answers."